Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. In there any kind of way. So I said, well, I'm going to wear my fineries. And so I might as well do that and learn some Bondassage at the same time.
Exactly. It's so perfect.
Exactly. There's nothing better than being dressed up and getting freaky, right?
Exactly.
So thank you so much for being back with me on the edge, Lorna Gale. How has things been since the last time we chatted?
It's been actually really amazing. We've actually I've taken two new practitioners through the Bondasage training, and one literally I'm in the space that I just finished yesterday, taking a new practitioner through. I've got some things here to do a little bit of humor. I kept some things out. I've got everything packed up other than the things I wanted to have in the background and to share with you today.
Now, did you take them through, what was it, one-on-one or was it virtual?
This is a one-on-one. Yeah, they each have flown from where they are. Wow. And these are all across Canada right now. And certainly I'm a global master trainer, so I can train people from around the world to be practitioners, as well as I can actually train couples if they want to do that. It doesn't have to be even in a professional context. Some people want to do it for their own play, and I can do that as well. And then also I can train trainers. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Brains, I want you to be aware that this is a very adult content interview with my guest, the founder of Bondasage, Lorna Gale, out of Canada.
Though I will just to correct, I'm one of the practitioners. One of the things, although Jaylene Bennis is the founder of, she's the creator of Bondasage. Okay. So I got to be trained by her and working closely with her. So I want to make sure I give credit to her, and I'm here in Canada.
Well, thank you so much for that clarification. Brains, everybody likes to do things for different reasons. They get a different stimulation. They have a certain pressure point, something that excites them, that exhilarates them, that gives them confidence, that makes them submissive. So, you may not want to say it out loud, okay, but we all know that you got a tick. Because I have one too. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. In our previous interview with Lorna Gale, we talked about the psychology and the methodology of what is bondage, what is this, what some people can contain as S&M or soft S&M, being submissive, the master, the different details and why people do what they do. So we definitely want you to listen to the first interview as well. But today we're going into what I like to call the dungeon, the sex dungeon, and to see a little bit of the toys and kind of understand what it is. I mean, you might find something that you want to try. So let's welcome her back to the show. How are you, Lorna Gale?
I'm doing very, very well. Very well. Thank you so much, April. It's wonderful to be back here. I'm excited. I know we had to reschedule our time together for this time, and each time it was kind of, I look forward to it. It's in my calendar, and I'm so looking forward to it. So it's great to be here with you again.
And Brains, Canadians, you may think that they're quiet and subdued, but they definitely get it in, and they're very adventurous. I find that they are less judgmental. And I can appreciate that. They're more open to a lot of things, be it culture, be it spirituality, be it sexuality, all of that. Your taxes are high, but but you got to set it off some way. So tell us a little bit about you, Bondasage, and what you're going to share with us today.
For sure. Thank you. So I've really, what brings me here today is my own journey of really bringing together a sexual awakening and spiritual journey into recognizing where we've been so often taught that never the twain shall meet. And so it's really about bringing them back together. So for me, Bondasage itself is very much just a journey into the physicality, into the spirit of who we are on multiple levels, that spirit, that energy of who we are, as well as that life force energy, the divine aspect as well. So I work as my journey has brought me from teaching in the classroom to teaching energy work, and then teaching in the sexual erotic thing. So the founder of Sexological Bodywork Canada was down in the States, and then I brought it to Canada. I did 3 years of being on faculty, 2 of those years as co-teacher of that professional training. Then I left that organization and doing my own thing. In the midst of that is where I was introduced to Bondassage, and I thought, oh, someday I'm going to do that. And it's really from somebody that grew up in a Christian home, pretty pretty conservative, don't dance, don't tap your toes, that type of a thing. This was I was going to say not really on my radar, but it was on my radar, but it was seen as evil and dirty and shameful and really to be avoided. And what I've really come to experience in my own journey, April, is that from multiple levels, I think anything can be done in certain ways for different intentions. My experience is that it, number one, allows people to be in a consensual experience. They get to explore different sensations. They get to have some healing where maybe some things were done to them as children or growing up that was non-consensual. They actually now get to step into that and have a replay of that. And in that consenting to that, it can be a healing journey. And as well, for me, I've really come to see that in my time as a dom, a pro dom, a femdom, that one of my submissives, I remember one time we were in conversation, and when he was talking about as a man and the circle of men that he was with in the circle of femdoms, that there's always this sense you just want to I want to do what you want me to do. And even though my will is strong, please break me, if you will, so that I can be there for you. And I realized, we'd had that conversation many times, but there was at one point several years ago, it was that aha, where it really parallels that aspect of the spirit world and the human journey, where we are thinking we're human, and then that sometimes that dark night of the soul that wakens us to that realization of the divinity of who we are, and beyond the ideas of, that we're separate from, and there's masculine and feminine. So it really starts to bring things back. So the way that I've experienced BDSM, and the way that I teach it, the way that I teach my Bondassage trainings and in my sessions of them, it's really about bringing people back into their bodies, empowering, and I say empowering women and training men. And in some ways, it's also, I could say, empowering the feminine and training the masculine, because there's the feminine and masculine in each of us. And sometimes it might be tapping into the feminine part of a male bodied person that arrives here. So for me, that's where I'm at. It's really looking at the feminine-led life. So for some people, that's a female-led relationship, and it can be that way. And I support that, and it's what I've lived. And then bringing it even more into that feminine-led life that allows us to be in the spirit of who we are and the divinity of who we are, and how that gets expressed, no matter what toys and tools, what flavors and experiences.
Well, let's go to the flavor.
Let's do that.
So let's talk a little bit about, you've explained it to us, Brains. I hope that you've taken that all in without judgment as an education, because we are all different and we are all sexual beings, whether you want to, flip that switch or not. Whether you are homosexual, heterosexual, transgender, non-binary, we all want to feel love. We all want to feel worthy, and we all want to feel pleasure. And that is what Lorna did a great job at doing, is explaining that to us on a much deeper level, not just the superficial, and not from the religious texts and doctrine. We're going to take that away, because there's been a lot of people that have been shamed by that have been hurt by that, have been suppressed by that, and also violated in that supposedly sacred space. So take all that and stuff that into your container. So let's see what's on the table. Explain to us a little bit about, okay, so when you come into a bond, when you want to work with you and do Bondassage, I'm sure that there's an intake. You're
There
gonna
is.
Okay, because you want to know who this person is. And they really don't know what they want to discover or uncover. That's why they're coming to you to
Yeah.
see what brings them pleasure. So tell us a little bit about that.
Great, thank you. So when people come to me, often they will contact me through the Bondasage site, and on the Bondasage site, I am the Maestra. Maestra meaning conductor, trainer, and so that's what I am supporting them in that entrainment piece. So I step into my place and of command and taking charge. So when they arrive to me, we've often corresponded either by email or sometimes by a phone call or a Zoom call, just to find out a bit of what it is that they're looking for. When they arrive to me, you're exactly right, April, there is the intake form. And a big part of that is I want to find out what it is that not only what they're interested in, but I want to find out, because while they're here with me, I get to be in this place of overseer of their health, their safety, and their well-being. So I want to find out, are there any health concerns? Are there any medications they're on that might somehow affect their ability to communicate, to sense any pain?
Or give
And
you a
even,
straight heart attack.
that's exactly
I
right.
mean,
That's exactly,
somebody might have popped 2 or 3 of those Viagra's before they came, and you
that's
don't
right.
know what's going on. So I get you. Go ahead.
That's right. So it's really important to find out with Bondasage as well. There's a time where we're up, in a place of restraint. So I want to find out, is there any injuries? Are the rotator cuff muscles okay? Are there any injuries or any medical things that I need to be aware of for their body? As you say, with the heart attack, any meds like that, blood pressure, those kinds of things that I want to make sure I can have an awareness of that as I go into and find, okay, what happens if you're diabetic? What do I need to do if such and such? What would I
Right.
need to be aware of
Or you get
specific?
so excited that you can't give the safe word.
That's right.
I'll
That's
know
right.
to stop.
That's right. And we do absolutely create those safe words, and yellow being, whatever I'm doing, sort of slow down. And sometimes, and I'll check in. And if it's a red, just stop. Okay, I'll check in. And sometimes it might be that the sensation that their experience is too overwhelming for them, and maybe not even from a sense of pain, because Bondasage isn't about creating this intense pain. There might be some pain. Let's find out what you can tolerate, but it's not about extreme pain and leaving marks. Just kind of like, let's find out where your edges are. Let's see where it takes you out of your mind and into your body. And
Mm.
so to be able to look at those various aspects of their safety and their well-being. So the safe words are very important. And if they need to just stop or just kind of just stop and check in, they maybe need a little bit of a breather. Okay, we're ready to go again. Maybe they need a drink of water. Maybe they need some meds or whatever. So we untie them and let them take care of
Take your
whatever.
mask off. Take off your
Exactly.
latex. Oh, I'm excited. So again, show me what's on the table.
Okay. So what I've chosen today are various implements that I use in my Bondasage training and in my sessions. And there are some of the things that and I'm going to just pause for a moment, because there's also Elysium, which is a very soft, slow, sensual, light restraint, sensory deprivation aspect. So there's the BDSM components, but it's how slow can you go and just be in that sensory. And so a lot of people that really just want to soak in touch, or they like to be edged, can be a place where they go. They're not really into even any sensation or any level of pain. That's not what they're into. And so the Elysium is an opportunity for that. And so in ours, we use some just some mule tape, and that's one of the things, we just wrap it around very, very easily around their wrists, and then just bind them up and slowly just put their wrists in and bind them to the table that way. So it's sort
So
of,
when you're bound to the table, it is the restraint. It's not having the control. It is releasing the control.
that's right.
I know that I have talked to some sex experts, and they said that, you know what, you can control your orgasm. You don't
Mm,
have to just straight go for the big O.
exactly.
You can get up to a certain point and dial back.
Hmm.
Enjoy that
Very much so.
sensation. Catch your breath. But
Absolutely.
and build on it again. And they say that the second or the third time that
Yeah.
you build on it, it's like you go to the moon.
Exactly, exactly. And the reason for that, April, is that when we upregulate, there's the tension that builds, the tension that builds. When we downregulate, then all of a sudden the body can relax, relax. And we come back up, it's not as if we lose anything. A lot of people think if I don't keep on going, I'm going to lose it. It's kind of like, no. If you keep on, if you can't let yourself down regulate, when you come up, it comes to a higher level because your body is relaxed and now it can experience even more. So absolutely, that's what we do is we take them, ride the waves, take them higher and higher. And at some point, some people, there will be this aspect of a bodily release, the muscular release. It can happen that way. And a lot of people think that ejaculation is orgasm, and it's not. Ejaculation and orgasm often, for a male body person, they often happen at the same time, and we think it's, oh, I ejaculated, I had an orgasm. No, they're different things. And so it's to be able to know that people can ejaculate without having an orgasm. They can orgasm without having an ejaculation. And so just in this training
But
this
how
week,
disappointing is that? I want the whole bowl of nuts.
and you can, and you
Okay,
can.
but explain how that might differentiate. I mean, why don't they go?
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's fascinating when there's an ejaculation, it is this release of as the erotic energy is built, whether it's, somebody going this way and ejaculation, or there's riding the waves and there's ejaculation, that that is the release of that erotic energy, that sexual erotic energy that has been built. And just in this last, in our training, there were 2 different times as I was training. I taught her what we call in Bondassage, the clench and hold. In our sexological bodywork, the Taoist, the term, we call it the big draw. And it's basically you build that energy, build that energy, build that energy. And when it feels like that's where would want to have that release, that's where we do some breathing to circulate the energy, to oxygenate the body and the blood and the muscles, and then do a clench, and we hold the muscles and hold. And when you can no longer hold, and we, get into a position of, legs up and upper body up and tight. When you can no longer hold, then just release. And then we just wrap you up, and then just whatever happens. So for some people, there's whole body orgasm. For some people, there's for example, one of the people that was here in the training had lots of tremoring because there was a trauma release that was happening. For some people, it's insights, there's ahas, just different kinds of things that can happen when that energy is contained. It's powerful. It's really powerful. I've experienced myself over the years as I've done this in my own training, my own experience. And so this idea of, oh, wait, that's the goal. It's kind of like, no, there's so much more. Come on.
Hey, a full body orgasm. I talked to a couple family members of mine, bless their hearts, and they never have had an orgasm.
Mm.
I've had numerous, and I'm so glad about it.
Mm.
But the full body. But yeah, the full body, I've had the full body where I've trembled, I've cried, I've shaken, even after, there's still a twitching and all that. So yeah, so I get it. I get it. And those are powerful. They are just mind blowing.
They are very, very much so. And it really, for people who are open to trying it, it really can be a mind life altering thing. I remember back a couple of years ago, one of my clients, I taught him that, and it just totally revolutionized his relationship with his wife, because he was able to, instead of this idea of he needed to come, he was able to stay there and keep that energy circulating. And they both came out of the experience much more fulfilled and connected. It was really beautiful.
I bet. Okay, so now after you've bonded me with red lasso, where do we go?
All right. So what I've chosen to do is, of the various things that I've kept out of the kit, this isn't everything that we use, but there are certain things. I chose various things that people can. So for example, you can find some type of silk scarves that can be there. So it's how can you start to experience this in your own home without even spending a whole lot of money, and sometimes even no money. So if you were to go even to the, into your makeup kit, these soft things, we're used to putting on the makeup or whatever, but all of a sudden, if you can take them out and all of a sudden they become this sensory tool, like what's it like to
Done that
feel them?
too. I've done that too. I've
There you
used
go.
Magnificent the Feather, and it is.
That's right.
But
That's
what
right.
happens, and the sensation that I felt, oh, brains, I'm just telling y'all everything. But what I found was when it touched so lightly that there
Mhm.
was an energy draw, that
Yeah.
there was it, it was supernatural. It wasn't, like a brushing of the hand or a brushing of a brush. It was like the energy was being drawn through the feather, through the
Wow.
entire body, and that slow and easiness and just relax and breathe in it. It was beautiful. You
Wonderful.
get to
That's
that point
exciting.
and you think about that too, about people that have sexual experiences. Men may not be able to uh, get an erection.
Mhm.
There are women that have had, for whatever reason, trauma, medication, that have a very dry vaginal area. It may not be the actual penetration
Mhm.
that gets you off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and when you spoke earlier about different women who had an orgasm ever, and it was not until I was 42 that I had my first orgasm. So there are different ranges. And so the idea that, oh, it's too late, I'm too old, is kind of like, no, it's never too late. I remember even 15 years ago, when I was in my work as a somatic sex educator, as a somatic sexologist, a client came to me. She was 73 years old, and she came to me. She said, "I still feel like I want to be sexual, and I need to shut it down. I just need to shut it down." And in our work together, she realized, oh no, this is so ready to come forward. And in fact, as an artist, it really started to show up in her work. Her work shifted and changed, and the depth that came forward. And in fact, I just received an email from her yesterday, holiday greetings, and she just said, "You have played such a huge role in my life." So
And I had a friend ask me, she's in her 80s, to take her to a well known sex shop in Hollywood, the Pleasure Chest. Well,
yeah,
I blushed. I was like, well, what in the world?
yeah,
She says it's not over. I still want pleasure. I don't necessarily have to be with a partner, but
hmm,
I still desire a certain amount of stimulation,
yeah,
love, relaxation, and passion. She says, and I can give this passion and love to myself. I don't need any
yes,
outside influences. I was
yes.
like, in 80s, you're still taking your power back. Well, I took her there, and not only did she get a device, but she bought extra batteries.
That's so beautiful. That's beautiful.
I was like,
Um,
so that lets you know that it is not over until it's over. And it's
no,
not perverted and it's
no,
not
no,
nasty.
no.
It's like turning on the coffee machine. If you don't push all the buttons, baby, you don't know how it works, how it percolates, how it gets
That's
hot,
true.
how it gets steamy and makes, a frothy latte.
That's right.
So you have to you got to get in with it. But also, I want to just interject before you continue.
Mm,
Brains, I want you to consider what you teach your children, what you teach your children about good touch, bad touch, self touch, abuse, violation, being clean, using protection. You cannot have this conversation with a 13-year-old. You have to teach them just like you teach them about your eyes and your nose and your lips. It's okay to say breast, anus, vagina, and penis. They're a part of the human body. They're very major organs. Have some sort of conversation with someone like Lorna, a child psychologist, a pediatrician, but teach them this about their body. And if you catch them, touching themselves, have that conversation. You need to be safe. You need to be clean. You don't put things in there. This is something private. This is you. No one is supposed to touch this. You're supposed to come to your parents and tell them the truth. This is very, very important because, as Lorna indicated, there are people that are coming to her that have been traumatized, that have been abused, that have been, uh, at sodomy, that have been encouraged to put their mouths on individuals. young girls so they don't get pregnant. There's a lot of things that go on, and sex is right up there with money and God. It is a controlling, manipulative, but also loving and powerful tool. So I'm sorry I had to interject in that, but I want parents to understand that you can't teach this. And if someone 40 or 50 comes and violates your child, they're aware of the predator and what could happen.
Mhm.
And they're not going to trust anybody more than they're going to trust their parents and trust you. I know my mother was on it. You know, I was on it with my daughter. If
Yeah.
it look funny, it feel funny, it's not right. And you talk about it. So
Mhm.
talking about it is huge. Okay, now back to the demonstrations.
Absolutely, and that is so key, April. So I'm so grateful that you spoke that. And interestingly, 98% of children want their parents to be their primary sex educators. They don't want to learn it from their friends. They don't want to learn it from the internet. They don't want to learn it from in the locker room. They want their parents to be there. So it's actually a fascinating thing. One of the my things from my midlife sexual awakening, what came to me was a whole body of work in looking at how we do food and how we do sex. And it's a training that I take people through. And it's actually, I'm in the process of doing that as a foundation for a sex education program for children that their parents get to teach them and support them. And so that's coming, because it really gives us that opportunity to really, as you say, to face into our own fears, our own traumas, our own misunderstandings, our own disconnections, so that we can stop the cycle and it doesn't have to perpetuate into the next generation.
Absolutely. So let's take it to the next level.
So, all right. So what I've chosen here are various things that, as I mentioned, that you might have in your home, or you can find in the regular supermarket stores. Some of the things that I have purchased, and these are, I love these. These are my leather cuffs. These are not in the supermarket store. These were ordered from one of the online places that makes quality work. If you're wanting to just play around with it, there's certain things you can certainly find at the sex stores or online. And if it feels like something you want to do some exploring of, is try to find something that is maybe not top level, but not just the cheap type things, because soon they'll crack and they'll break, and it'll feel like it'll hurt. And so it might not be the thing. So if you're feeling like I want to explore it, find some things that feel fun for you. And if it seems like it resonates with you, then you can start to up what you do so that it has some quality things and you can really sink into it and enjoy it.
Okay, now wait, pull that back out because I want to see now. Is that those are cuffs that go around your wrist and your ankles?
That's right. So we've got 4 of them here. We choose in Bondassage, we actually use the same size. We get ankle ones so that I don't have to try to figure out, does this one go on the, is this the shorter one, the longer one? Some people have very thick wrists and narrower ankles. So by having them all the same, we just pick one and put them on the wrists and go from that.
Now, let me ask more questions about it because I'm
Yeah.
fascinated. Okay, so now
Yeah.
you put the cuffs on. Now, is this to bond them to, to I don't know, apparatus, to the bed,
Mhm.
or is it to bond them like this? What are you
Great questions. When we have this, as a Bondassage, and the way that I teach the Bondassage, I just stay with the very basics, and then each person gets to make it their own. So the cuffs are put on. So the first thing, actually, when they arrive, they get to come naked. Go get changed, go get undressed. Make sure you're clean, and I have them clean before they arrive, and then they come in.
That's what I'm saying. I talked to some massage therapists. That's why I wasn't a massage therapist. Brains, you gotta take a shower.
Yeah.
You gotta be really, really, clean. Somebody's gonna touch you. Again, you're gonna be exuding bodily fluids. Nobody wants a funky freak. Well,
Right.
maybe some people do. We're gonna talk about that too.
So I have them, their instructions are to get undressed, and we can come in, and then we work on a massage table that's nicely padded with memory foam. So it's really nice and soft. The face cradle is there. And then I kneel before them and I have my collar and I say, this is my collar. And what this represents for me is, number one, my commitment to watch over and care for your safety and well-being while you are here with me. I'm going to enjoy you. I'm going to play upon your body. I'm going to take you to places that perhaps you've never been before, both emotionally and physically. And I want you to feel it all. I want you to feel as much as you can. And if you need to use your safe words, I will listen to you. Do you accept my collar? If you do, then around their neck it goes, and I fasten it on. And in that time, that lets them sink into that place of letting go, letting go, letting go. Then the
That
cuff.
is your first stop at submission.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really, this is our, as actually the trainee yesterday said, and she's now a certified practitioner, as she said, this is her covenant. This represents her covenant, that connection and covenant between us together in that time. Beautiful word. So that's the first thing it does. It allows them to sink in. And as we do the restraints, we put them on, and we put the sensory deprivation. So there's the blindfolds, there's the headphones that are piping in some music so that they're not aware of what's happening around the room.
What type of music?
We have a playlist. Jaylene Bennis has put together a beautiful playlist.
So is it like meditative? Is it like, or is it like Chinese gongs? Or I'm just trying to figure out, or is it jazz? Or it just
Great questions. Great questions. In Elysium, it's a very soft, meditative type music. In Bondassage, there's more of a beat. Some are still kind of calm and quiet. So again, it sort of reflects that riding the wave of things. And there's some that are have a very distinct rhythm beat to them, because when it comes time to pulling out the various things, we get to do some percussion on them. So doing some percussion and sync it in with the beat of the music, and it lets them, okay, feeling that within
again, you're using all of your senses. You are being denied sight, which is okay. You are probably, I'm thinking you're going to explore, your oral sensation, but your hearing and your touch. So these other sensations are heightened.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of asked about the music, because I'm really
that's great.
Sound therapy.
For sure, for sure. And one of the things we do as well in terms of the scents is I choose a different scent that I have, or my own, the spritzer that I put in different essential oils, so that when they come in, it sort of creates that ambiance and that connection to what they're smelling, to what they're experiencing in their room together.
Also, that could be your trigger. Those things, and you go, oh goodness, I'm going to see.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right. So some of the other things that you can do are here, just from the grocery store, the department store, just a silicone basting brush, just something that can be used. It can be used just softly, so softly. It can be later on be used as a percussion instrument. So we're tapping into not only different kinds of sensation, but different levels of sensation. People, when they think about kink or BDSM, there's often this thing about being restrained and about pain, whips and chains and that. And yeah, as we tap into it, April, as you said, we're playing with all of the sensations. And when somebody has a high pain tolerance, sometimes that can mean also that their pleasure cap, I call it pleasure cap, is not always high. It's not always a wide range of things. So as I can take people into this experience of sensing, and because we're so busy so often in our world, we sometimes don't feel. And feeling something that feels maybe uncomfortable, whether it's irritating, painful, or even sometimes pleasurable, we get busy. I'm going to go. Need to do something. I need to go to the store. I need to do something. We get busy because there's something that we don't want to feel. And that can sometimes even include pleasure. I call orgasms, in many ways, where you orgasm, that's showing your pleasure cap. And so as we ride the waves, it helps to expand that pleasure cap And as we start to now connect pleasure and pain, weave them together, that all of a sudden pain, like, is that pain or is that pleasure? And is that so pleasurable that it becomes painful? We're starting to weave them together, which now expands the ability for everything, for life to be felt in its fullness even more.
That's deep.
Mm.
That's deep.
So there are various kinds of blindfolds. There are leather ones. There are ones that are nice and soft because we have people laying face down in the face cradle. We want to choose something that's nice around their eyes. You can go to the travel store and get some of the little blindfolds for, the sleeping on the airline.
But you know what? I'm now. This is again something that I have seen and watched. Uh, the full on regala. Now I'm sure that you got some cute stuff to wear. I got some cute stuff to wear too. It's not cheap, brains. That leather is expensive. Those harnesses, the brass rings, and all that. But the latex, I don't understand how anybody could. You can't breathe. You're restricted. You're sweating. What do you find that people that like the latex suits and the latex wear, is there a commonality as to their pleasure cap? I mean, I know
Hmm.
everybody's different, but
Hmm.
that's pretty intense.
Hmm.
And to be blindfolded and to be restricted, you're doing a whole lot.
That's very true. Very true. In my work, I don't use latex, and it's not something that I felt drawn to even myself. And so, from my experience of people that I know that are drawn to it and that love it, sometimes there's that feeling of it creates a sleekness. There's a sleekness. There is that tightness of it itself, where it's being restrained and feeling held. And when we think about and again, sometimes they're just flavors. They're just, I like this. Why do I like, tacos and somebody doesn't? It's just, we have different flavors that we like in our foods. And so in sex, really no difference in our sexual expressions and explorations. What would it be like to try something? And so that aspect of when we look at being restrained, whether it's with cuffs and ropes, whether it is being tied up, wrapped around with ropes. In many ways, from our various earliest days, that whole thing of being restrained, right? We swaddle our babies, we hold them tight. There's something about being held tight, a safety that all is well with the world.
Mm.
And so even that aspect of putting on those tight clothes can just feel like, and so it can be really a neat way that way. And there, just the movement of stuff. So I can't speak to it from my own personal experience, only from what I've talked about with other people and what I've heard them speak of, and recognizing that power. And what I call about is, there's various ways, but it's the restraining power of love. That love restrains. And so that's a part of the trust piece as well, that for somebody to be here on a Bondassage table with me in a session with me, there is that trust in themselves and that trust in me, that they can start to let go.
Okay, then we talk about other things.
Yes.
Um,
All right. So we've got those things. Some things, again, I've chosen some various things, so you don't have to think I want to go to the store. And if you want to go to the store, there are various things. So these exfoliating gloves, head over to the drugstore, and what's it like for sensation? Just, it can be soft, or it can be, kind of scratchy, right? That way. And what's it like
get
if,
your lymph nodes cleared.
there you go, there you go.
Well,
And
it creates circulation.
absolutely. And it's kind of an interesting thing, another sensation when it comes time for, whether on labia or on a penis, to do stroking and stimulation. It's kind of like,
Really?
oh, sure, here in this erotic massage, what's it like to have that touch? Wait a minute, that's not a soft hand. That's, it's this scratchy little thing. Sure. So there's some more sensation. We're starting to build in and expand the sensation that's there. And for a lot of people, it's kind of like, at first I thought that was going to be, and I realized that was amazing. So when we try things, it really starts to,
Because normally people would go towards the quick and slick, something slippery, smooth.
that's right.
They wouldn't go to anything that is abrasive.
That's right.
sharp, or even also temperature.
Very much so.
Ice is amazing. And Altoids. Have you heard the story with the Altoids people do?
No.
Yeah, I'll turn you on to that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. And here's another thing you can do is just a brush again, just a spa brush, exfoliating dry brush. That can be used again for sensation all over the body, and it can also be used as a paddle. So one of the things that in Bondassage and in BDSM, for those people who are being playing with the risk, being the safe aspect of things, is being aware of where bones are. So we're not hitting bones and we're not hitting on veins and things like that. So there's certainly the safety features of things, but on the soft, the padded and fleshy part of the bottom is a good spot to do that. So we use this in Bondasage. There's all kinds of things.
They also say the bottom of the feet.
Yeah. You have to want to be.
The feet are like reflexology. It controls every organ of your body. So, the palms of the hand or the bottom of the feet or the bottom is a good little place to get a little spank.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's and again, just some simple things, taking a scarf that's, in your thing and how that can be there. And what I love to do is to weave pleasure and pain together. So it's not this dichotomy. Okay, I'm in pain and I'm in pleasure. It's wow, pleasure and pain together. So I might be, running this scarf, and again, using the hygiene of things. Once I've used this, into the laundry it goes, so that the next client comes, gets their clean things as well. But I might be dragging this all the way from their feet or onto their legs, from their face, over their face, and then over their genitals, up their crack and over the anus. And so all of these different things. And then my most all-time favorite is the Wartenberg wheel.
Really?
And so I might be doing this beautiful soft touch with this or with my hands, and then all of a sudden the wheel is there. Oh my goodness. And to be able to watch people respond to it, not quite sure. Oh my goodness, is she going to go over my nipples with that? Is she going to go over my scrotum with that? What about my labia? And to watch them really sink into it. Oh my goodness, can I feel that? And as I tune in and listen to their body, listen to their sounds, watch their responses, it allows me to build their ability to feel, take them on this journey of the erotic energy, and also that ability just to feel. As I said, that's when they come in, I'm going to take you places that you've maybe never gone before, in terms of you're going to feel some things, emotions, and you're going to feel some physical things that you've never felt before. I want you to feel it all. Feel it as fully as you can.
But also voice inflection. I hear that this is one of your favorites. You go, yummy. It is, it's the voice. A lot of times, sexual stimulation is people hearing you gasp for breath, hearing you moan, hearing you cry, hearing you whimper, hearing you scream. Your voice is a very, very powerful erotic tool in this.
It is. Very much so.
Well, this has just been like delicious. I've learned so much. Where do you get that little wheel from?
I got various sex stores have them, and I would say make sure you're paying a good amount for them. Otherwise, they are sort of just this metal and chrome plated, and it'll soon chip off, and then it gets rusted and stuff like that.
Okay, now the tips of it, are they pointy and sharp, or are they?
They are, yeah. They are. They are originally used, in a doctor's office, where you can see them, for checking reflexes on your knees and your elbows, things like that. It can be called a pinwheel, but a Wartenberg wheel is the official name for it.
Wartenberg wheel. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one in Canadian dollars, I paid about $40 for this one. Previous one I had, and maybe it's just prices going up, was about $20. And this one feels nice and solid. And I just got it for this training because my other one had gone kaput. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
One of the things as well, so you've got the feathers, that typical thing. We've got crops, and these are things that can be used, just for light play, tracing up the legs, tracing down the back, on the sides, watching them squirm and letting them feel things, a little smack on the butt, a little smack on the testicles, or the penis, or
And
the
you mess around with some men's testicles and they don't like that.
exactly. Yeah.
They want you to be gentle with the testes.
That's right. That's right. And that's what's an interesting thing is sometimes if they've at the beginning, when I say, do you have any soft limits, which means things that kind of, I'm not sure if I want to try that or if I want to go there. And if they don't say anything, or if, well, I might, for example, one person this weekend on the training said, yeah, my testicles are really tender. So, I don't want that sharp thing. I don't want anything sharp or pokey on them. So, okay, we honor that. And then if there's, a bit of the cropping on there, then it's a little bit here and there. And what I'm listening for is not only his sounds or his movements back and forth, but I'm listening for his yellow or his red.
Okay.
So I'm not just gonna, hear it and then just whack, 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 whack. It's not about that. It's building the energy, it's building the sensation, getting the blood circulating with some taps here, some spanks here, get the blood circulating, because as it circulates, then now they're going to feel even more. And what's actually fascinating is after I built it up, and there are some smacks that can leave some red marks on there, when I do a soft touch now, that skin is even more sensitive. And so it's kind of like, oh. So it's this weaving of it all together in this whole body experience. So this combination of the erotic massage, the BDSM components, just allows for this full body sensory buffet of being able to really go into what they want.
And brains, like she said, start slow. Don't just go in,
No,
spanking and whipping and all that kind of stuff.
no. Then
It's not building sensation, it's actually creating fear. And
that's right. That's right.
not what you want. You want this to be a pleasurable experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where communication is so, so important, to be able to, I would like to play with this, or I would like to try this. Okay, let's try it. And that's where the safe words are important. It might be, even if it's stop, even if it's whatever you choose to have, that as soon as it happens, it stops. Like if I say stop, it stops. Okay, I need to talk about that. I need to process something. And so that's what establishes that trust. Because if I want to keep on going, even if they've said stop, all of a sudden that consent is gone, the trust is broken, and to get back to it takes quite a journey if it gets back. And so this aspect of building the trust, taking something that even maybe is seen to be flog or whatever, is how can I use even that as a soft thing? What's it like when it's run over the neck or the back, and then all of a sudden smack, so it's seeing how things.
Yeah, right. It's like, what do I have to look forward to? I'm blind.
There you go. There you go.
Let's tell you a little story here.
Okay.
I was at work one day, and I looked over at my girlfriend. We were sitting cubicle, and I saw these little wet marks. Did I tell you the story?
You did. Tell it again. It's a good one.
These little wet marks all over her legs, and they were all rashy and looking. And I said, well, honey, I said, did you go camping or something? You get bit by a bug? She goes, no, this was me and my partner. And I said, you and your partner? She goes, and every time I run my hands over these wets, I just, come to a sensation. It was beautiful. I told her, tomorrow you wear some tights. I was embarrassed, but I had no idea. But the pleasure that came over her was like she was back on that table or whatever it was that they were doing. She was back in that sensory space of feel and touch and pleasure and defiance, and something that's being taboo that she was able to break through. So I understand what you're saying, but I never looked at her the same again.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if it was with curiosity or if it was with judgment or if it was with fear, but I never looked at her the same again.
Yeah.
This has absolutely been fascinating. Thank you so much, Lorna, for
You're welcome.
educating us Again,
Pleasure.
Brains, you've done, as they call it, vanilla. You done did one position for 20 years. Try something new,
Mhm.
again, a beautiful massage.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Yeah.
Learning where a person likes to be touched, how hard they like to be touched.
Mhm.
Um, when they don't have any control, when they are bonded. Uh, but also be gentle and be kind and be respectful.
Yeah.
Understand people's limits and their boundaries. They may grow into it. And talk to your partner. Communicate. Tell them what you want to explore. You don't have to be shy. This is a person that you've been with your entire life, or hopefully, or this might be the person that you just picked up at the bar. Who knows?
Mm.
But communication, letting people know what it is. They don't know in your head what you're thinking. So all these things are so important. And Lorna, I think that you are like awesome sauce. I really do.
Thank you.
Too bad you're in Canada. I don't know if I would take a full-on Bondasage course. I don't know if Mr. Magnificent would be that agile to it, but you never know
Never
until
know.
you try it, right?
And,
Thank you.
and Canada's a beautiful place to come and visit, so you're always welcome.
It is. And thank you so much. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to work with you,
Mm.
and also, just kind of follow you. So when you're ready to explore that conversation with parents and children, or women coming out of their shell that have been
Mhm.
abused, or men that are looking to be more submissive and control, how do they contact you?
Hmm. Lorna at lornagale.com is my email address. And on Facebook, I'm Lorna Gale there. On Bondassage, I'm the Maestra. I do have my page on the Trusted Bodywork site. And so Trusted Bodywork and then Lorna Gale there. And that gives a really pretty comprehensive picture, if you will, of the things that I offer. There are a long list of testimonials of individuals, couples that have worked with me and speak to that, both in my somatic sex coaching as well as in my DS and bondage practice. So there's lots of things there to choose from. And yeah, those are some things. I've got some different programs. I'm in the process of getting a new website up, and those are things in process. And for now, those are probably the key ways to contact me. Women who are on Facebook, you're welcome to join my private group for women called Reclaiming Eden. And I am going to be starting as well a group for co-eds, all genders across the spectrum that are just really wanting to step into that feminine-led life, and whatever way I can support them. So you can watch for that, and I will post some things into my Facebook group and onto my soon to be out linked tree as well, where you can have some of those pieces. I'll post some videos where people can get a sense of some things. And then again, here through your video, the comments there that show up as well, April. Thank
But you
you.
know what I wanted to ask too? I know
Yeah.
that you're working with couples, and I'm
Yeah.
hearing heterosexual, but do you also work with gay men?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I just merely an observation. I'm not a man. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a different subset of
It
desire.
is. That's true. And when I think about, yeah, we think often of the women, men, female, male, but when we look at feminine and masculine energies, that it's all within us. So to be able to support people wherever, however they're tapping into it through their physical bodies
All
and
right, well, get
relationships.
physical, brains.
You bet.
There's
Thank
nothing wrong
you.
with it, as long as it's safe and it's consensual. Brains, go in and tap into On the Edge. Like, love, share, and subscribe. Like, love, share, and subscribe. We'd love to have you. I want to make your life as pleasurable as possible, to clear up any doubts, and just to be, happy and healthy in the space that you're in. Thank you so much, Lorna Gale. You are the best.
Thank you, April.
Bye, brains.